we go. Might turn up my mic just a hair. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. That's slightly better. I hate top chat. Hello, Cool Carp. I haven't streamed in a while. Just researching a video. Might as well go through my thought process. Oh, hi George. Hi. How do you feel about the cyber spyware ID laws in the UK? They keep getting worse. They just keep getting worse. I don't know. I don't know how it just went from 0 to 100 so quickly. It went so quickly. It just went from overnight, boom, ID required for Spotify. I'm like, okay. I'm so glad I don't live in UK right now. All my homies hate the UK government. It's just so weird. It's like I keep repeating myself, but I have to restate. It just happened overnight, like boom. It's already like in 20 states. Yeah, there's a lot of litigation. It's a little bit harder to do that in the United States than like the UK because of the whole First Amendment. There's a lot of legislation up in the air. However, even with the United States stuff, you could use a VPN. They're cracking down on heavy VPN usage in the United Kingdom. Seeing an article about football and gun control on this same page is wild. So this is the Rational Wiki. To my knowledge, it was originally a troll. It was to troll Conservativepedia or Conservative Wiki. I don't remember what it's called. But then it just slowly turned into just lib crap stuff. Like far left lib. Or leftist or whatever they want to call themselves. But it's just, they try to act like they're like middle ground rational. Example of a well-regulated firearm. Oh, so you're pro semi-automatic weapons. Cool. No, actually, that's a pistol. You get to kind of tell. When do you think we're going to get more Reddit content? I've been debating on a couple. I want my next... Here's the thing I will say. My next Reddit video won't be a gun Reddit. I just because I know there are some people who are waiting for... because my last Reddit video was a gun video. I'm just really picky on subreddits. I don't want something too culturally, like, volatile, if that makes sense. Because I've gone, like, even if I wanted to cover some of the... I don't remember. There's this one subreddit that's a little creepy, but if I covered it, I'd just be labeled shit. It's just not worth it, and YouTube would just take it down. I need to zoom this in. Ooh, there we go. Them black guns are scaring me. Yeah. In legal terms, I have a... By the way, I'm taking notes, but you can't see it because it's on a different tab. Even your non-gun Reddit content slaps. Yeah, there's just... I might do child... There's so many. There's some, like, the pet-free subreddits, there's a lot more Chinese subreddits. There's a couple North Korean ones, too. What is this? On the foredeck of your yacht. Yeah, that should be allowed. Oh, come. But oddly not enough for suspect... Okay, this is the thing where you... Holy shit! $20 from Groovy Banana. What's up? I don't know if I could say that, but what's up, my fellas? I could say that. Thank you for the $20. That's the biggest donation ever. Hate how much YouTube censors super chats. Yeah. The thing I will say, you could, if you're right wing if you have like right wing talking points or have like just like a more open comedy, you're more you could say a lot more on YouTube than on Twitch, but I have to be really careful, like, not to click on anything that links to anything, like for example. I don't want to accidentally click on a gun website that sells stuff. Have you came across Jimmy Talks yet? No. I have never heard of Jimmy Talks. I'm sorry. Oh, you streamed also yesterday? I found out about your channel today. I watched the stream. Yeah. I stream. It's called Lazy Streams. I'm not a streamer, but when I'm doing stuff, might as well stream. It's okay. I'm back to the no-fly list. Yeah, it just seems it's really easy to get on. Who wasn't the view lady on the no? I'm pretty sure Whoopi Goldberg was on it. Whoopi Goldberg's anti-gun, but just to show you how easy it is, I'm pretty sure she was on the no-fly list. Is it Whoopi? Who the hell is that? Why just show name? That's creepy. I swear to God, she was on the no-fly list. It's really easy to get on the no-fly list, so that's why it's like convicted felons, but oddly enough, not suspected. Yeah, because they're suspected. You have to go through due process. And that's just my guess. Bloomberg terror gap argument shot down by pro-gun GOP legislators. Let's look into this. You should check Jimmy Talks if you haven't. I'll give him a look. I think yes. Anything with I won't try not to say the names, but there's a website that was originally oh my God, shut up. Sway block the purchaser of guns by suspected trouble in terrorist towns would undermine the Second Amendment right to bear arms. Joint FBI agents have the authority to block sales of guns explosive to those on terror watch list. Well, that means if you're on the terror watch list, you should already. This just feels like, it's anti-terrorist. The sponsor of the bill would close what? There's no. I find it hard to believe that if you're on the suspected wanted terrorist list, or you have you shouldn't be able to even buy a gun in the first. There's no gap. I don't believe this. Hey Bubba, how was that hike of yours? I haven't watched it yet. If you haven't, it's pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job. I know it's a niche video. I know it's a very niche video, but I think I did a pretty good job. No fly list can be used as a humiliation ritual against certain individuals. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, this is just I'm pretty sure it's made by Bloomberg. It's got to be there's got to be more to this bill. Government Accountability Office report out today disclosed that from February 2004 to February 2010, individuals on the terrorist watch list were involved in firearm explosives background checks 1,000 times. 91% were allowed to proceed because there's no legally disqualifying factors. Well, they weren't charged with anything. Terrorist watch list. Huh. So then that would... I don't know. This just seems too good to be true. Doesn't link to the... Okay, let's try it. Government Accountability Office. The problem is, if you allow they have to commit a crime at first. It depends if they're guilty of... Well, if you're also on the terrorist watch list, you could probably also not be a citizen. I don't know. Terrorists, like, what's the rate of domestic terrorists versus external terrorists, like from another country? Accusation doesn't mean a conviction, though. Yeah. And let's just say a awful president, you could just put everyone... Hey, look, there's these guys on TV that I don't like from the other opposite party. Let's put them on the watch list. Oh, you can't buy a gun now. It just doesn't make sense. If you're on the terrorist watch list, you should already be... If they're that dangerous, they should already have a warrant for their arrest. But that means it's a watch list. It means they haven't done anything yet. So with this first thing, convicted felons from owning a gun, but oddly enough, not suspected terrorist. Well, they're not convicted of anything. Suspected. The reason is it's suspected, not convicted. So look, convicted felons from owning a gun. Suspected. There's a difference. Even in their own wording, it's a little bit vague. Just too much. Yeah, was it Trey Parker, Matson? They might have been on it was one of these Hollywood bigwigs, I forget. They were just put on it for no reason. It's really, all it takes is probably just some bureaucrat in the FBI to put it in. Put your name in. I'm just kind of jotting down. I'm not going to take notes. Instead, the notes will just be the stream. I'll just look back on what I'm talking about. Shut up, phone. What is it? So it tries to. It's just some of it is like a wiki. It's just telling you limit on where firearms can be carried on the person. It's just telling you in some jurisdictions there may be restrictions. Gun control has become a highly politicized. It wasn't really politicized until the 1930s. 1930s. At that time, unscrupulous weapons, you can already tell their bias already coming through. Where they try to act rational, but you could tell. Unscrupulous weapon salesmen sold military-grade machine guns. I mean, yeah, they're selling guns. I don't know what else to say. I was on your side. Oh, that's cool. Silencer. So you're a regular viewer then. Will be cooking? Oh, well, regular. Yeah, it's just so they're okay with semi-automatic weapons. This is just a semi-auto weapon, by their terms, that shoots 9mm and has a short barrel. Now, are they pro SBR? Probably not. They're just anti you having one. They're pro the government having one. I've been looking at this is the problem with me. I will debate dumb gun control ideas that really shouldn't be debated. A guy brought up the Mentis Wave wall. You need the right to defend your other rights to have those rights, because if you don't have a gun, you can't defend, or like the weapon of the time, you can't defend any of your other rights. You need to be able to meet force with equal or greater force. Thus, in modern times, this means having gun rights. Yes. Because that is the modern weapon. Saying otherwise is just saying that only a privileged group government should have those exclusive rights, thus enslaving everyone else. It really does just contain, like, gun control is literally, you just believe the government should only own weapons. It's an act of insurance. Let's just look at the crime stats and say, then we'll see who aren't allowed to. Yeah, then they tell you about, like, inner city gang violence. It's weird. They go. I see a lot of gun control people. They go back and forward with gang violence. It doesn't exist. It does exist. It's so weird. They don't. They're not very centered on one. You'll see one gun control person will have a radically different argument that will contradict with another gun control person. Yeah. I don't agree with anything, not everything Mentis Wave is, but his gun video is pretty good. As a result, gangsters and robbers were often better armed than many police forces who may have only had sidearms, rifle, or shotgun at best. Well, yeah, like 38 police revolvers. I don't know, just give them... Tommy guns were also marketed to the police. The problem, I think, though, is Thompson machine guns are extremely expensive. That's why gangsters could afford them. It was literally just rich gangsters who could afford them. Indeed. And since they weren't really that major, I could already just tell you, since gangster shit wasn't originally a major problem, they didn't need to see the need to upgrade their arsenal to 38 revolvers to something else. Indeed, any major pooping, and I don't know if I could say it or not. U.S. is usually followed by a round of both gun control advocates and gun nuts, arguing that said incident would have never happened if there had been strict gun control laws, or if everyone packed heat Wild West style, respectively. Okay, here we go. Get into the meat. Oh yeah, wasn't that the reason why the M3 grease gun was developed? Yeah, because the Thompson is really expensive. Gun nuts arguing. How about, you could already tell which side they slightly sway to, just by the way they're arguing. If everyone packed heat Wild West style, fun, weapon of gun. I think that's like their troll article. I mean, I think they already get into this. A meta-analysis on gun control research by NRC found that efficacy for certain types of police intervention in reducing gun crime, but also found that the literature was mixed on ambiguous on whether right to carry laws increased or decreased crime either way. I think everyone realizes that. Though a 2019 meta-analysis found that right to carry law increased violent crime by 13 to 15% violent crime. Okay, let's see this. Oh my god, thank you for not linking it to me, bot. And then it just sways to like, additionally, gun nuts will inevitably cite the research of serial cherry picker, data fabricator, and sock. This is funny because I'm going to show you something later that they're accusing this guy of cherry picking. Some may also use the equally fraudulent arguments of lot source, the criminologist Gary Kleck. See the Wikipedia, let's see. Who is it? Supposedly, this is where all of our pro-gun shit comes from. I don't believe it. Wubba, what gun control do you agree with? None. I don't agree with any. Because even if I were, like, let's say a certain person shouldn't own a gun, it will just be abused. There's no, like, honest discussion with gun control. It'll always be, okay, how much can we get away with? It doesn't make sense. It's perhaps a 13 to 15% increases. I'm glad you caught that. Increased violent crime by 30 and 15% 10 years after adoption. Right to carry just means, the thing is, so you say it's either a slightly modest increase of 13 to 15% violent crime. The right to carry law only applies to law-abiding citizens to carry guns. Because criminals are just going to carry it no matter what. So it's right to carry is usually like, it's either constitutional carry or may issue, if I'm taking it correct. If I'm trying to guess what this is saying. Well, yeah, without getting too much into it, people either blame crime on genetics or social economic value, purely economic values. Because I'm Christian, I do lean towards the economic values part, because all those there's like just the way you like reverse a lot of this shit is just making sure that people actually have a decent living. You know, zero tax, like less taxes, zero taxes. What's funny about gun control is whenever something happens in Europe or Canada or something, it's never mentioned except for on the soap. Yeah, it's, oh, we solved this in Australia. Oh, it's just so dumb. As you can see, I slur my words a lot on stream. I don't know why. Though a 29... You're literally... I don't know, 15%. I wish I could just... Let's see. Journal... I really doubt they read this shit. I really doubt they read this shit. I'm probably the only one in the world reading this. Increase overall violent crime. Not crime. Notice they said violent crime. Yeah, when you have more guns, if the gun is the major tool in the state, that's going to overall increase the violent crime with guns. Just like if like you're on an island, there's only knives, that would increase the violent crime because there's knives. So that's just the weapon of the island. That's just the weapon of the country. What do you think of bullpup rifles? I like bullpup rifles. I need to buy one though. I want to get a Styrog. They also include violent crime. Wouldn't that include jumping off a cliff, but with a gun? Okay, let's see. Does this support? No suicide. Oh my god. States that never adopted right to carry laws. States that have adopted right to carry laws in 1977. What are the states, though? Illinois excluded since its concealed carry law did not go in effect in 2014. From 1977 to 2013, the violent crime rate in Illinois fell by 36%. But hasn't violent crime just been going down ever since? I'm pretty sure the violent crime rate around the United States has been down. Giving people the right to carry rocks increases the amount of rock. Yep, you get what I mean. It doesn't... Yeah. I don't even... That's the thing. They expect you, you have to read all this shit that I didn't read and come back to me. Well, I could just debate the right to carry law. Yeah, all this shit. I really doubt anyone has read this. Might have to deep dive into it, though. In addition, gun nuts will inevitably... Yep, there's that guy. 2014 Stanford research studied experimented on the NRC with additional data. Though sympathetic to the NRC's views that it was difficult to determine whether right to carry laws increase or decrease gun, nevertheless criticized their statistical methodology for not using cluster adjustments. Stanford found that the RTC laws aggravated assault by 33% and also increased that and that from... I just instantly know Stanford University is funded by, like... I'm just gonna go on a hunch and say it's funded by Amnesty International. Let's see if I'm right. There we go. Sorry this is really boring, but this is just the reality of making scripts. It's just... Half of it is just me looking through this crap. Do you know that... Auto fatalities have risen since the invention of the automobile. That's crazy. But should we be able to have nukes who would use guns? Easy win for everyone. Yep. We don't live in a perfect world. I don't think anyone really wants nukes to exist. But how dumb does it sound? Like, let's just ban nukes. No, that's just not gonna work. It's just way... The thing is, it's almost like it's almost fantasy of like privately owned nukes. Unless you're like a heavy Metal Gear Solid 5 fan, you find some way to do it. They always compare nukes to full auto shotguns, and that's like the biggest grasp ever. Most plausible. In contrast, with... Oh my god, this is just a bunch of word salad. Download, open. Oh my god, it's just endless. It's endless. Yeah, to cook Bubba, you have to do the boring shot. I have to go through this just to tell him this probably study's full of shit. The debate on the impact of shall issue a right to carry concealed handgun laws on crime. This is everyone. I see a lot of this is like from 2010s. This was like the most debated book ever. A guy made I think he was on John Stossel. It's More Guns, Less Crime. Yeah, 9mm is way stronger than nukes. And Prestige. Oh my. By the way, I want to tell you what it is 73 in my room. It feels hotter though. I don't know how long I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna keep on. I'll save the boring stuff for my own research. I don't want to bore you guys. Are you planning on talking about the UN gun control? Maybe maybe like 10-minute burst. Because there's just too much that I don't even know about the UN before I really need to talk about it. There's just the shit I've seen. We could watch the old NRA documentary. It's really goofy. We should. Okay, where's it? NRA Amnesty International. Where is it? NRA. I used to watch this all the time. It's funny. UN documentary. They were hiding it from me. Is this the video? Okay, we're gonna turn this up. Watch party.
We were turning to what I like to call.
Oh my god, it's for ants.
You know, we were there ripe for the picking for both by criminal and the government.
Carlos Santillan, now an American citizen, remembers all too well the freedoms he and his family were denied. Growing up in the Philippines, where Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law, putting honest citizens at the mercy of his dictatorship, ordering them to register their firearms, and then forcing them to turn them in.
This is my brother and my father. They're in Mexico.
Quick question. Do the police get alerted when you buy over 2 guns? And I'm pretty sure that the background check system flags 2 handguns no matter what state you live in, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is a UN 10 minute. I live in Minnesota. How worried is a ban is coming? How likely? Turn the quality down. I can almost see what's happening. This looks like probably bot. Yeah, this is the reason I'm stringing on like 4,000 kilobits at 720p, and this video is 240p. I'm trying to find the Amnesty International guy who was just like,
armed crime's gone up, and more and more firearms are being imported into England illegally.
Once upon a time, people's houses would be broken in when they weren't home. What's happening today is that the offender, the bad guys, are happy to break into somebody's house. They're not frightened to break into somebody's house while they're at home.
Gun bans that have backfired, but governments refusing to admit it. Instead, these same countries are now conspiring with the United Nations, insisting that the only way to combat the illegal possession of firearms is to restrict, reduce, and ultimately remove legally owned firearms from law-abiding citizens. The UN's agenda? To impose its own standard of freedom, global gun prohibition.
The global mission would be a relatively gun-free future for the world's people.
I would agree with her entirely. But being a realist, I think, it has to be a gradual process. We cannot solve this problem in one fell swoop. But I think
I like how all these people like the UN gun control stuff. That's just it's a use keyframe. What? Did it just please use a keyframe? What? Was it flipping its shit? Please use keyframe. Why is it flipping it? Uh-oh. Why is it just... Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Current keyframes are not being sent enough, which can cause buffering. The current keyframe... Oh my god. Fucking stop. It's like... Sorry. My OBS is flipping its shit. So yeah, you get these people telling you, oh, it's a nothing burger. The... What is it called? The UN Small Arms Treaty? That's just regulating arms between warring countries and third world countries, and then you just literally, if you watch any United Nations stuff, which is barely covered in the clip, people aren't clipping the stuff, they just out there and just brag about gun control. It's all about gun control. It's always been about gun control.
She's right by saying that is the goal.
That's why here at the United Nations, delegates from around the world will meet for a global conference on small arms.
I think there was a conference like 1 week or 2 weeks ago. There was a conference. Not top chat. I want live chat. Dumb.
For the first time ever here on American soil, part of their agenda will be to regulate firearms not only held by nations, but by...
Oh yeah, they act like it's a nothing burger. They act like this isn't publicly... It's like, I'm not sure if I could... Davos. If you just go on their websites, oh, this doesn't exist. Oh, this policy doesn't exist. You go on the Davos website, they just talk about it. It's not a complete nothing burger. Don't forget the peacekeeping. Peacekeeping. Oh, yeah, we're peacekeeping. Yep.
By individual citizens. In fact, many people believe the UN's mission is to redefine your firearms freedom.
The greatest danger in a global gun control standard set by the United Nations is that we would lose the freedom that we have in this country. It would effectively be undermined.
The plan has all...
I think the Supreme Court also ruled international treaties, the Constitution is above like international treaties and agreements.
Already been scripted. In this so-called documentary by the UN, emotional images of mothers crying, child soldiers, and rampant gunfire are used to drive home the message that legal guns owned by lawful American citizens are somehow...
Wait, can I find that documentary? Holy shit, can I find that documentary? I would love to react to that for a video. It's gotta be bad.
For the atrocities committed by armed terrorists, genocidal rogue armies, and drug smugglers around the world.
That's what they frame it as. They frame it as, oh, we're just talking about crime. We're just talking about guerrilla warfare. We're just talking about countries selling guns to terrorists.
In places where freedom doesn't even exist.
Couldn't that also undermine it probably undermines every single amendment, right to fair trial, bunch of all that dog shit. It just completely stamps on the Constitution.
The problems a country like Colombia has because of firearms and because the looseness with which firearms are sold is causing a lot of violence in our country.
When you read the documents coming out of the United Nations, they refer to civilian ownership of firearms as a destabilizing thing. And they believe if we were to prohibit law-abiding citizens from owning firearms, that somehow our communities would be safer.
How is the war in Africa the fall of law-abiding gun? There isn't your fault. It's just used as a proxy. They want a guilt. They want total control. They want total armament control.
The solid feeling that the United Nations is actually reluctant to hear the truth. Once it's got a nice campaign going, a good emotional campaign that it's doing good for the world, it doesn't want it to be disrupted by an awkward thing called the truth.
Facts that don't matter. The truth that registration won't stop criminals, warlords, or drug smugglers from getting their guns still won't stop the UN from proceeding as planned, mandating all firearms be registered in a worldwide database under the authority and oversight of the United Nations.
We need to have national laws for the registration of weapons.
I'm gonna shut my mouth. Dude, you got this guy in a building in America, the United Nations, he's most likely in the United Nations building in America, telling you what the world thinks. You don't need a gun. Hey, you better register that with us. Oh my god, my comments are going, guys gotta calm down. Feds glows can be in the comments. It could be any one of us.
If I have a weapon at home, my government must know that I have that weapon.
International.
Yeah. Oh, he must. Wow. I really doubt he owns a gun.
Terrorist organizations will never comply with the laws, and what you'll wind up with is gun control on an international level, specifically designed to be used against honest, law-abiding people.
I really trust China knowing where my guns are. Really trust them. Any of the BRICS countries, yep, I got this, and that.
Enough for the UN to set its sights on what it calls small arms, to regulate
Which is
and
everything.
eliminate them.
My definition would be fairly elastic.
But it's clear, with a
elastic.
definition so broad, what the UN really means is all firearms. To them, a bazooka and your Beretta, a machine gun and your hunting rifle are one and the same.
Yeah, they are all one and the same, and we should own them all. I like how the NRA's funness is kind of showing a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it's all the same to me. Give me. HRT on all. Oh no. Oh, gotta hide my dogs, then hide my cats from Tempest.
I'm not sure there's a definition of small arms. It seems, in the minds of the promoters, to mean anything that they wish it to mean.
Talk to the UN participants, and it's clear. In their utopian world of global gun control, only the police and military would be allowed to have firearms.
Until this is the thing, even if you believe are pro-cop or any of this, a lot of these countries are just not equipping their police well, or the military is extremely well. They either rely too much on foreign aid, or they just don't do it intentionally because they like anarchy. They like being a bigwigs and watching a lot of ants like crawl around frantically. This was from the 90s. So the NRA was kind of relevant. So this was back in the 90s, though.
We're sending a very clear message out. There is no need for civilians to own handguns, and that's it.
I think.
Oh, that's just real. Oh no! We're talking about civilian terrorist. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
In all democratic structures, I think provision is made for governmental forces. So that should really reduce, if not eliminate, the necessity for citizens to carry arms.
In the case of our country, ideally, certainly only the law enforcement people, and because that would mean then that there would be no crime.
But
only if law enforcement could carry guns, all the crime would be solved. Well, guess what? I don't think your Colombian narcos guys are gonna really give up their their self-defense tools, because it's kind of required for their business. Has any of these ambassadors held a gun before? No, they've only held pens.
Despite these governments insisting their citizens trust and rely on only them for protection, all too often, the innocent are left defenseless.
If you phone the police, you tell them, hey, I've been attacked on gunpoint. They say, no, come down to the station. We're also afraid. We won't come. They come down and report their maritime. So
what? I wouldn't even blame them. Like, okay, I know you could say police are chicken shit. Yeah, going into a slum, that's gotta be hell. It's probably just, and if the police aren't adequately armed, they're just gonna go into a cheese grinder. Why not let your citizens in like these? I really don't get the ploy for third world countries to restrict firearm access. Well, I know it's more of a piece of paper. They don't really follow most of the laws in third world countries.
It's the reason why I think it is the right thing.
Yeah, it says owning machine guns is morally wrong in the Bible. Yeah. You know, Christians, it said lay down your arms and celebrate us defeating this one Iraq. The end. Global peace enacted. It's just this weird shit. They always use that.
Need to have a gun.
In the Philippines, when I was growing up, the police were not only were they not always there, some of them wouldn't even act unless you paid them. And currently, from what I understand, it's still the same.
And Joseph DeSoto remembers all too well. During 2 separate trips to his homeland, he was victimized by the same government authorities sworn to protect him.
The first trip.
If you live in a city that looks like Fallujah during its golden days, then the police are likely not one of your friends. Yeah, that's like, I bet you they're completely paid off by whatever entity, whatever terrorist organization is in there. It's just so crazy. I like how the guy in the Columbia is like, only the police force should have firearms. I don't even have to look it up. I'm just going to guess that maybe the Columbia police force is just a hunch. Might be a little corrupt. You know, maybe taking some of that cartel money. Just a hunch. Just a small hunch.
That was robbed at gunpoint by the federales. Second trip, I'm robbed by the police. The whole idea that the government is going to protect the citizen is outrageous.
Outrageous enough for the UN to keep its plans a deep, dark secret, conducting meetings for the past several years behind closed doors, shrouded in secrecy and silence, as Jim Pankow, a member of the Canadian Parliament, found out. Twice, Jim applied to be an observer at the UN's proceedings, and twice he was his own government.
Why an elected representative would be denied access to a meeting like that should cause great concern. But unfortunately, people seem to have their head in the sand a bit on this issue.
That's why, as Congressman Barr points out, it's vital the NRA maintain its NGO, non-governmental status, one of only 2 pro-gun NGOs to have that accreditation and access.
Even though that doesn't give the NRA...
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I've seen a couple of the recent UN ones. They have this one gun rights group, or I think they represent the industry that goes to the UN Small Arms Treaty meetings, and they just cave in. They completely just cave in. Well, but would allow blind people who have guns. Yeah, there's a YouTuber, a gun tuber who's blind. He's into AKs. I forget his name. What's up with those? It's really 90s, like.
Accredited non-governmental status.
They look
one
like
of only 2
they look like evil
NGOs
layers
to have that accreditation and access.
Even though
scary building, really scary building, dude. Your NRA, you're trying to make yourselves not look like the bad guys. Don't show your scary building.
That doesn't give the NRA a voice in the decision making. It performs an essential function, and that is to have outside observers be able to monitor at least part of what's going on here.
I like how his voice is lagging.
But UN officials stress that any politically binding agreement or treaty they approve at the Small Arms Conference is just the start.
It's a process. So I don't see this as the end-all of the process. It is a...
I don't see this as the end-all of process. So you mean that you'll never give up? You'll never reach the top of the mountain. You're going to just keep on climbing until no one has anything. What's next? The small knife arms control? No more knives, no more rocks, no more sticks. It'll never be enough to these people. Oh, this is from the 90s, wubba bubba. This is from the 90s. I've seen, there's some, I think it's either NAGR. I know they've been getting some flack, but NAGR, they had a couple videos from the UN. They're just I think it was Chile. It was like a couple of years ago. Chile was bragging, yeah, we destroyed all these firearms. Yeah. They just say this publicly because no actual sane person actually goes into this shit and just sees what you could just openly say a bunch of crazy shit and no one looks into it.
Another step. I think we have a long way to go.
The UN, under the guise of peace and safety, rendering your rights guaranteed by the Constitution to be meaningless as part of its new global standard of freedom.
Okay. I know this is a bit not totalitarian, but maybe exceeding its powers. Can we get an executive order to remove this fucking statue from New York? It's a fucking slap in the face. Fucking remove it. Actually remove this. Okay, that's basically the documentary, but what's that statue? It's the UN headquarters. Just remove this fucking statue. Who owns the land on the United Nations? United Nations, New York. I want all these people. Oh, remove Confederate statues. Oh, remove this United States statue. Oh, remove this woke statue. No, we need to remove this. We need a petition to remove this. Get this out of here. That should be the top on the list. I don't care. Then we could debate whatever else. United Nations. Oh boy, scary. Headquarters. Where is it? Reminder. If I was president, I would just shred this place up. Evict everyone. Get out of here. It's just crazy. It's just here. It's right in the heart of New York. Where's that statue? The statue has a name. I don't remember what the statue is called. Statue. Yeah, just come on it. I won't get too much into other politics, but it's literally just the last 4 years was literally come on in, and then they blame the gun. The cartels were just unchecked. I know there's a lot more to it, like the whole war on drugs and all that shit, but it was literally just you just let them in. I'm not paying any child support. Tied up gun statue. Yeah, poor Colt Python. This is the work of evil. Might as well put Moloch on this too. Notice that it's also a 357. It's on the nose. It's literally, it could have been an AK. It could have been one of those terrorist weapons, in counter-striking. But no, 357. Really on the nose. It's just too on the nose. Look at this guy. I don't want... Swedish painter. Wrote a book. Oh no, he didn't write a book. That's what he's known for, this. Just should be a high point, a twist up high point. It's just so on the nose. How can anyone just be like, nope, it's just about machine gun AKs in Cambodia? So on the nose. Come on. P320. It should be a guys, petition. Change.org. Change the knotted gun into a P320. Come on, guys. We can do it. I need one of you guys to go on r/gun memes and say we need someone start a petition on r/gun memes and say we need to turn this into a P320. You'll get like 10 trillion updates. You'll get like 10 trillion updates. You're welcome. Okay, back to this. Bunch of word salad. I guess it doesn't even matter what study I think the thing I'm just gonna say is it doesn't matter what stuff you're gonna throw at me. It does. I'm not giving them up, and you can't do anything about it. But this is also. Notice this. All non-fatal crime victims, 99.2% failed to defend or threaten. You're not a victim of a crime if you just, brandish the gun. This just reads so weird. Violent crime U.S. found that all non-fatal crime victims. What about fatal crime? I bet these... Are you in any local state gun clubs? Nope, I don't really go. No gun clubs, no forums, really. I joined one recently, but they've been bundles of fun. Just been... Need to get my car fixed first before I do any more gun stuff. That's my biggest thing. Someone should just make a Blender model of it, yeah. Of P320. Dude, if you... We still gotta go on r/gunmemes to tell them we're storming, This is a joke, YouTube. We're storming the creator shoot. They can't stop us all. More guns do not mean more safety, but more... In 2012 alone, 190,000 firearms were reported lost or stolen in the United States, with Texas... That's actually not that much. What is it, 400... There's like 300 million guns and only 190,000. Well, one, so you're telling me... So criminals got the guns by stealing them. So you're telling me that that they'd rather steal a gun than do a background check. It just doesn't make sense. And also the thing with I think they get into this a little bit later. Like, person-person transactions increase. I think they see them on the ground. All it takes is one of your gang members to be squeaky clean, and then he'll just be your merchant for you. Oh yeah, here you go. Yep, the category of assault, they wanted to define just a semi-auto rifle. Identified not by their lethality, but by its scary... Indeed, it only covers certain... Fully automatic weapon. Laws regulating machine guns were already in effect. Well, yeah, so that you're admitting you wanted it to be even stricter. That's what they're trying to say. They're right with this, but they say you can see they're a little bit mad that it's not machine guns. They're the NFA assault weapons. They it was banned, but they're just... You didn't have to register them. Even though it was just a cosmetic ban. Suppressors are even more strictly controlled than the guns they can be attached to. Guns that have had their firing mechanisms removed, but imitation... What? Guns that had their firing mechanism removed are illegal, but imitation guns are completely forgiven. I promise when I the wolf will be a vegetarian when all you sheep stop protecting yourself. Yeah, I'm glad nuclear bombs for billionaires. They can't keep comparing even bazookas to nuclear bombs is such a stretch. Nuclear bombs? You mean a bazooka which could take out maybe like a Humvee, a light armored Humvee, to a nuke that like Hiroshima levels of destruction. I'm glad I will say this. You can see they get that most of they're not really mid-witted. They're like I can't explain it. They're not real. They know a little bit, but they just haven't gone the full hoop of why. Okay, I keep slurring my words. Like, look, they get this. Interstate. it's just like a, you know, it's kind of, this does kind of read like a r/liberal gun owners post, kind of, where it's like they're okay, they're like, I get the reasoning, but I'm well regulated, but I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm looking at the Constitution. That's what the Supreme Court says. But you really, any nuclear bombs, anyone? That's just how they speak. This guy's right, though. Move all gun laws and allowing private ownership bazookas. This is the whole point. They can't get... So, nuclear bombs for billionaires, bad. Nuclear bombs for governments, good. Fucking moron. Nuclear bombs in general are bad, but you can't stop... You literally can't stop governments from creating them. And you could probably... There probably is some billionaire cracking away at it. Well, they focus so much on shall not be infringed, just focus well regulated, even though that's not that's not what well regulated means. Working order, other things. That's what I mean with this. Half these arguments don't even go through this threshold. I like how they're like, it always goes, well, it seems like all these bans are inconsistent, but we still kind of want them. You can see how they write it. They just don't want to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong about gun data. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to change your opinion, but they don't. They just like to dig their heels in. I'll have to include grandfather provisions. Here's the thing. Legally, you don't even have to put... It's just impossible to confiscate every single gun. That's why the grandfather provision is set in. It's impossible. It's just a waste of resources and impossible. That's why these grandfather provisions are in. 2003 study indicated that sales of firearms to be banned might increase the period before implementation of bans. Whoa, who would have thought? No shit, because you're banning them. I don't get what they're trying to argue. You don't need a fucking study to tell you this. You don't need a fucking study to tell you this. This is just economics, supply demand. The demand is high because the supply is about to be turned off. Oh, research says if you need research to tell you this, you're a fucking midwit. Research behind the self-defense aspect of owning guns is not convincing. 14,000 people, legitimate self-defense cases, statistically rarely, and less than 1%. They probably do not count brandishing. They do not count the presence of a firearm stopping a crime from even happening. That's the reason why even officers from big cities, despite being exposed to former criminals, report rarely having to use a gun. Notice the word is use. I've seen many videos of show me your hands, they don't fire a shot. Only 27% of officers fired a gun. That seems normal. This isn't some like, oh look, not every single officer they don't need a gun because only 27% have only fired it on duty. Well, it's because they have the gun in their hand and the person complies. If they didn't have that gun, the guy would probably pull out his own gun or just run away or do something else. It's just so fucking weird. It's just like, this doesn't make I don't really see how this strengthens their argument. They try to show that, oh, guns aren't needed in everyday self-defense use, and that's the whole point of having a gun. So they're completely... This kind of shows them that they're not trying to be rational about it. They just don't believe in the right to self-defense. Because, oh, it's rare for you to have it. It's rare for you to need it. Even though there's other studies that I can just pull out my ass too. That it can go. What was the study where just the presence of a gun stopped crimes more than the crime? I forget what it's called. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if there's these surveys that count taser deployments as shooting to pad stats. Pure empiricism is so annoying to deal with in that. Yeah, it just doesn't. Huh. Now they bring up correlation, not causation. But look at how they say it. 2013 study found a correlation that suggested that white racists are more likely to own guns and to oppose gun control laws, which is not to suggest that white gun owners tend to be more racist. Might not apply to. Notice they. Then why bring it up? Any extremist, this just doesn't mix. What constitutes as racist? I really want to know what that study says. Biased attitudes in U.S. white males may influence racism, gun ownership, and gun control. Biased attitudes in U.S. whites. Where have I? It doesn't even link to it. Update your shitty thing. FBI identified a dangerous spike in active shooter events, even as overall. I mean, that's true. And you're like, oh, okay, well, you're just going overboard. They're not openly anti-gun. They're showing you both sides or whatever. They're showing you some statistics. Like, they're even being a little more critical of their own positions. Then you see this shit. In 2024, the nonprofit Commonwealth Fund analyzed deaths from gun violence in countries as well as individual U.S. states. They found that, among other things, several U.S. states have had significantly higher violent deaths than Haiti, which at the time had no effective national government since the assassination of the president. 2021, the state governments of Mississippi, Alabama, New Mexico, Missouri, Alaska, Wyoming, Kentucky, Indiana, Colorado, Idaho, North Dakota being on the list of shame. Notice what they said. Let's look at you know what's funny? I thought Haiti was this. Remember when they criticized, I know I'm bringing up Donald Trump. Donald Trump called it a shithole. And then you had all these things like, look how great Haiti is. Look how awesome Haiti is. Now they just completely flipped. Now when it suits them, now look, Haiti's a dangerous place, but did you know the United States had higher violent deaths? Not higher crime, not higher homicides, not higher this, higher violent crimes. And two, this is Haiti. How good is their record keeping? I'm sorry. Then there's just there's just anecdotal evidence. You're going to tell someone, hey, where'd you rather vacation? Haiti or Idaho? Haiti or Colorado? I've looked at this study too. It's so dog shit. Truth is, most deaths in Haiti are likely not reported. You're completely correct. It's Haiti. You know, the actual poor country. Let me guess. Look, Haiti. This is them still cherry picking their. Even with their cherry picking data, Haiti has a higher firearm mortality. I bet you that. Well, then again, let's look at the actual crime rate, and I can just tell you the crime rate is lower than any of these countries over here, and it's probably closer to down here. Isn't this the age? Isn't this like 21? Ages 0 to. Age standardization death due to firearms among children ages 0 to 19 per 100,000 people. Due to firearms. I wonder how. Death due to firearms, not. Let me guess, suicide. There you go. It's just, you could just tell. Suggestion? What are you suggesting me? I don't care. Sorry, it's just OBS. It's just so women's firearm mortality. When you have... Wait. Greenland has a higher firearm mortality rate on women. This is the problem with these datas. It's just so inconsistent. And this is also because firearms are the most prevalent weapon on the United States. They're the most reported weapon in the United States. In other countries, even in Europe, I think they're underreporting their gun findings, the use of guns in crime. Even if I were to agree with them that, yes, U.S. is uniquely has a firearm problem, it's going to go on. The old world is going to see that so quickly because the use of CNC machining, 3D printing, just Chinese imports coming in unregulated. You say 19-year-olds as children. Yeah, notice that? Huh. It's not as cherry-picked as the one. Now, here's the thing with firearm deaths. Child and teen firearms. It's most likely it's most likely gang violence with black children in low income. That's just the truth of it. It's usually just gang violence. I just know that from heart. It's always like, it's just shit. U.S. has higher firearm mortality. Mortality means... It's not fatality, mortality. Like, so this would include negligent... Also, this is something they didn't really talk about. This could just include self-defense. These could just include self-defense, too. Why 0 to 19 any 3-year-old gun owners about? Yeah. Ugh. Only 12 countries have a rate of self... Yeah, because okay, here's the thing. Because I've always seen this argument uses the self-harm by a firearm is easier because the firearm is click boom. I agree with that, but however, if you're in that state of mind, you're going to do this. Sadly, you're going to do it no matter what. That's why all these other Asian countries, they don't have firearms. Their suicide rate is really high. And then they accidentally find their answer. They tell us it's not gang violence, it's not this, even though it's just shit. It's just they have the keys to the kingdom. This is your problem. It's always economic shit. And that predominantly is hurt by black people stuck in these shitty ass hoods where the cops don't do jack shit. It's easier to make a living slinging crap. This is literally your answer. Want to know why you have a quote-unquote firearm problems with, like, what, 40,000 homicides with... that's 40,000... It's like 40,000 deaths in America with guns. And 70, if I remember correctly, 3/4 of that is suicides and a quarter. If you want to know what the quarter is, it's this. It's literally just, I'm trying to be careful with my words, even though this is just the truth. This is just the truth. How people go about it, people go about saying it is the different thing. But it's the truth. It just relates back to gang crime, which predominantly, firearm deaths predominantly affect, like, black children and black neighborhoods because gang violence. Blame Lyndon B. Johnson for that stat. That's just... I'm gonna guess that American Indian and Alaska Native, they have higher things due to probably depression. I'm gonna guess because of economic output. Because I've seen some of the, when you go through some Native American reservations, it's kind of just sad. Just sad, the economic. Oh yeah. You could see a lot of problems with their data in this. Just fucking, because they are insinuating that it's a sleight of hand that Haiti is more dangerous. That's what you're insinuating. Haiti, which had its government overthrown, no national government, is less dangerous than any of these states. That's what they're insinuating. No, 3D printing. They don't even realize that they're trying to downplay a little bit. It's like, I agree with them a little bit. They're just trying to downplay it a little bit. 3D printing, that's like the whole, I'm not even talking about the loot machine gun. It just gets easier and easier. Hey man, as a fellow pro 2A Gen Z, you give me a little hope. Feels like you have so much youth has been... Yeah, because you're just expected just to take things at face value, and if you just look... It's always the... I don't know. I've always been just critical of stuff. Many reservations don't even have full property rights. It's owned by the government. Yeah, it's just... That whole reservation thing is so weird. Oh, are you ready for these rebuttals? They're so basic. Like I said, half of them don't even meet this threshold. Don't even meet this. This is here to remind me not to try not to deep dive into some of these just basic bitch arguments. Yeah, good luck going around this. They're probably not happy about that. Okay, let's get into these common arguments. Strict gun control violates the Second Amendment. The Bill of Rights give Americans the right to bear arms. And no, it doesn't. You're well, that's what some of the, like, when you first get into pro-gun, you probably are likely to say that. But the Second Amendment just realizes there is an inalienable right to self-defense, and the government's just forced to recognize it. The Second Amendment is really about the right for a regulated militia to have arms. Then why does it say the people have arms? There you go. You completely fucked up on your first sentence. Why does it say the right of the people to keep and bear arms? Why doesn't it say the right to the regulated militia? You completely fucked up on your first sentence, dude. You completely... Come on. Only 14% of male property gun owners had guns. Today, a militia is unneeded since, there's a large federal army. Let me call... I'm gonna call 911. Hello, I need the army. Someone's breaking into my house. It's just so... They completely just fucked up. Federal army equals the people. Yeah. They completely just... The army, not the right of the people. But as we all should know by now, right-wingers don't care for hypocrisy. You don't even have to be right-wing. Realize you completely fucked up the first part, dude. Oh, well, look how basic this understanding of the Second Amendment is. Well, well-regulated means the right of the militia to keep and bear arms. You can't change the meaning of the Second Amendment like that. It's really giving the citizens the right to guns. It says the right of the people. It's not specifically about the guns. It's about armaments. Yes, the guns... Yeah, you completely got it right. Therefore, the Second Amendment theoretically gives the right. Yes. However, despite the bans of these weapons in the U.S., people aren't complaining about rights violations. Why? Because allowing the citizens to these is insane. Notice he's using mustard gas nuclear weapons, but not talking about self-defense weapons that are even machine guns and auto shotguns are great against one individual target in self-defense. Penn and Teller did a video. Yeah, I know. You could literally put on that Penn and Teller thing. They completely just sweep away this. They're not even answering the question. You cannot. They can't even tackle this question. Insane is subjective too. Both sides of the political spectrum can agree on this. But unfortunately, people can't be bothered to read the Bill of Rights. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't know. I think you have a hard time reading the Bill of Rights. I think they're having a hard time. A whiff of the slip. I love this. Isn't it so shit? When the people say they want stricter gun laws, they really want to repeal the Second Amendment. This is an argument by assertion, a whip of slippery slope foul. No, it isn't. In my video, I will just put a fucking compilation of like, was it the Giffords girls? Just who was the girl? I think it was the Giffords girl. She was like, it was some interviews like, just ban guns now, ban guns. It was like verbatim. That's what she said. Just because certain guns are banned doesn't mean all guns will be. It is a slippery slope. It will never be enough. Just ask them this one question. When will you stop? When will they stop? Oh, it's a gun violence is an ever evolving issue. Yeah, then shut the fuck up. People just want certain guns to ban extreme danger such, well, good luck banning them when you could just drill a hole. Even if the Second Amendment is repealed, that doesn't necessarily mean that owning a gun is banned. It's just not considered a right. Oh, they just revealed their hand a little bit. They don't care if it's repealed or not. It's not. You could still technically own a gun. We, the global government and the government, get to decide what gun you own. A whiff of. It's not even a fallacy if you prove it right. Let me guess. I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm gonna guess they don't believe they don't believe the whole LGBT like slippery slope stuff. They like, oh no, that's a real slippery slope. I bet they'll go back on that fallacy on that one. I just know it. I won't go into anything else like that, but I can just tell you. The slippery slope fallacy isn't a fallacy when you could just show a trillion clips of fucking people not being just gun hungry for every single restriction. Look at California. They're trying to ban the Glock. They're trying to ban the most... example of a well-regulated firearm. Don't you think a Glock is this? This Walther P99 is on par with a Glock. They're trying to ban Glocks in California. It'll never be enough. Fucking morons. This is the worst shit. This is the main reason I wanted to do this. This is so basic bitch shit. Even a dude. They'll never stop. It's literally, that's their whole job, is just bureaucrats. It's just to regulate shit. Guns can be used in self-defense. Therefore, more citizens and teachers should be armed. The research beyond the self-defense aspect. Oh, this is the whole thing. That genuine self-defense cases are statistically but the presence, the sheer presence of a gun will just sway. What's more likely, a mass pooper will target a place that says no guns allowed or armed personnel on the property. Instantly, your second sentence is just, if you just use your brain, you realize it's what you're saying is dumb. As gunners, didn't they researched, like, wasn't, some guy told me, I'm pretty sure it's in this. Wait. They're quoting a Washington Post article. From the article, at least 181. Wait, Wait, they're saying you shouldn't own a gun because it makes a police more likely to shoot you. Are you fucking kidding me? This is further excess. So this is reverse racial profiling, as black Americans with guns are far more likely killed by police regardless of their intent. Come on. So this is a reverse racist. The blacks shouldn't own guns because they're likely to get killed by cops for owning a gun. Come on. If that's true, then they should have their right to self-defense. It's so stupid. They can't. Come on. A gun additionally gives its owner a false sense of security as well as an exaggerated sensitivity to threats. Guys, I'm being robbed, but I think I'm being oversensitive. Letting the owner take risks that otherwise would not take. For instance, during a physical confrontation over a parking lot, the man was knocked down. The man was knocked down. This is all that matters. If he felt his life was in danger, he was knocked down. He was on the ground while in a fight, and I gotta read into this case, but if this is how they're just presenting it, I'm not gonna show the video just in case. Forcibly, I'm not saying. Come on, dude. Oh, you don't. When you get in a fight, when someone's beating the crap out of you, you should actually call the police first. It takes them minutes to get. So if you're getting your shit pushed in, it's gonna still take minutes for. And if it doesn't matter if your life is on the line and you legitimately think you're about to, you or someone else is about to lose their life, you should be able to use equal force and stop the threat. Equal or greater force to stop the threat. I don't care. Bro, if that Florida man was under attack, he wouldn't be able to reach for his phone. Yeah. This is... Have you heard about that incident in the UK about the lady defending her knife and the sister with... I saw that. People are like, oh, wait for it to develop more. I think she's a gang member. This 13-year-old girl's a gang member. I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing yet. It just looks like it's a standard case of self-defense. You see a lot of these stupid people saying no one needs to carry a knife. No one needs to carry a knife. I'm like, dude, I have like a couple lying around in my room. Dude, I feel so bad for the United Kingdom. So you'd have to withstand the beating for 5. Yeah, no, what? Well, he could stop beating. Who cares if you're in danger? Responsible measures. Finally, given that guns increase on this. But here's the finally, given that you getting rid of your guns collecting dust in the closet is not a burden on the police. It's not going to impair the police ability to reduce crime. Unless you but the mere presence of a gun in your house means when people rob you and steal your guns, then it makes it worse for everyone. So you're telling me criminals make it worse for everyone? What a shock. I'm going to make a whole video on this whole article. This is what these, the last 3 hooked me. Then I might call in some big wig help and look into these. But this shit, it's just this right now, the biggest hurdle for me making this video is me looking through these RTC shit. I just never take in these out face value. So yeah, might end the stream in a little bit. I think this is a great way to get back into discussing more gun control. I think this is a great. The only thing, it's gonna take me a while to write up just to talk about this shit. Look at all this shit. Well, half these citations don't even work. What they're insinuating. It'll be a good discussion video. Other than that, future videos, I do know I want to do some type of internet related video after the, after this one, either a Reddit video or because I do know that there are some people who don't watch me for the gun content. I do realize that. I'm getting more and more people like, oh, I'll watch any of your shit, but that's cool. So yeah, just put some Team Fortress 2 gameplay, just talk about this crap. The first half is really boring. The second half, I would love to do a video on, but if I don't cover the first half, you'll get people like, oh, you're just cherry picking the article. diving headfirst into their fucking reports. That's just dumb. It feels like a tanky defending the Soviet Union, but pretending not to be a tanky. It feels like it's really written like a Redditor. Yeah. So yeah, I might have to do some more research. It's just these, I just don't look for it. I have to actually read like 40-page surveys. Fucking hate that. But I'll get it done. Rather the first half, probably just go through all this shit briefly as quick as possible. Do you have a Patreon or something of the sort? I do have a YouTube members. The only thing that I don't want to restrict anything per se, like behind a paywall. The only thing I do have is either you donate, and I put you at the end of the videos, either through Steam or through Super Chats or anything like that. Or you just, I did have a channel subscription thing where if you subscribe, it's just, if you give $2 a month, you'll be in every single video no matter what. If you Super Chat or IOM donation, you'll just be at the end of one of my videos. I don't know what to say about the subject, will go out of subject, but what guns you really like or have a big interest of? I like semi-automatic weapons. I really like, I'm really interested in bullpups, 308s, so, and a couple. I want to get more into Milsurp, but Milsurp's getting too expensive where I could just invest into better weapons. I do want to build one day I do want to build an AR pistol just for fun. Like I want to base it off the Patriot from Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't know, I've always gravitated towards like semi-auto platforms. Those are more interesting to me because they're more modern, more of a modern world. Oh, dude, what an article! What a shitty article. I don't know if I might keep this live stream up, might take it down. I've said a lot of I didn't break any rules on this stream, but it doesn't matter. The YouTube video will like beep bop. He talked about nuclear bazookas, machine guns mounted on the back of your truck. Delete channel. So I might take it down, might not, I don't know. But I will use this as kind of to remember what I'm talking about while writing the script. But anyway, I think it's time for me to end this stream. Thank you for watching, Lloyd. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you to the guy who donated me $20. That's the first time. The Groovy Banana. $20. Other people. Neko Arc. Negative. Tempest. Fang. Azuna. Who else watched? I gotta keep scrolling up. Gabriel Peterson. The Question 619. Oh, that's... Can't scroll up anymore. Pooh. That's some clown music added into the video about the artifact. It deserves the clown treatment. Yeah, maybe some circus music. Well, anyway, I'll stop. I'll let you guys continue on with your day. Hot in my room. But until next time, this is Wubba Bubba signing off again.